This Hotel 13, taxi Southside Med Apron for bow checks, runway 09, QNH, combined QFE 1014.
Yeah, it is. So, that heading is actually correct. Good.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 9 of our 10-part series or 10-part episode. We're almost there. In today's episode, we're going to be heading over to the UK. And for this video, I wanted to do something similar to episode 8, which was an interview with my good friend Tinashe, who is a flight operations manager as well as a bush pilot in Botswana. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, go check it out. Episode 8, link is over here. It was a good interview. So for today's episode, I want to discuss about something which I feel as if it's not discussed much about in the aviation industry, and that is nationality. Nationality is something that not only affects the aviation industry, but due to the infrastructure requirements, the regulatory oversight, and the number of players or air operators that are required in order for you as an individual who wants to become a pilot or any form of other career that you want to do in the aviation industry, nationality plays a humongous role. So it's very simple. Your passport is going to determine the accessibility as well as the pace in which you grow in the aviation industry. And I realized this during my time in the UK when I was doing my private pilot license, or PPL for short. During my time in the UK, I had witnessed friends of mine, associates, people in my circle, that they had gone from having their PPL or just having a few flying hours under their belt to, well, straight into flying in the right-hand seat as a first officer, flying the Airbus A320, the Dash 8, or being a second officer on the Boeing 777. So that was in a very, very short period of time that I'd seen, people had gone from zero to pretty much hero. But of course, it's not only about the accessibility and opportunities that are presented to you. Those of course are very important to have, but the other side of the equation, which I cannot fault as well, is yourself. You too must also put in the effort. Yes, work hard, but work smart, and develop your network. Very important in the aviation industry, as the community, even if as a global community, is still very small. So develop your network, be the best that you can do, study hard, go learn all the technical stuff as much as you can, practice, and be the right candidate for the role being a pilot, or of course any other part that you want to play in the aviation industry. But like I said, the point of today's video is just to show how much having the right passport plays such a big role in developing your career and gaining access to those opportunities. I am very grateful that during my time in the UK, there was an organization that gave me a chance despite my nationality. They are called the Air League, and the Air League are essentially an organization that promotes aviation to the youth, motivates and educates and gives opportunities to youth in the UK to the different aspects of, or the different career or the different facets that exist in aviation. So the Air League saw something in me, and I owe it to them for that opportunity that they gave me. And one day I do wish to pay it back. I don't know when, I don't know how, but one day certainly I either pay it back or pay it forward. So I'm grateful for them they awarded me a scholarship. It was a 12-hour scholarship, as in funding towards 12 hours of my flying time, which is essentially to allow you to go solo. And it usually takes between 10 to 12 hours to do so. So that was provided by the Air League, and the funding for that scholarship came from the Swire Group, which owns Cathay Pacific, based in Hong Kong. So I think that funding came out of the corporate social investment or corporate social responsibility division. So, I'm very grateful for both the Air League as well as Swire Group for providing that opportunity to me. And that is exactly what I want to communicate here, that's the point that I want to illustrate here. And I'll give you an example, or I'll give you two examples. The first one is, let's look at the internet. If the internet did not exist, then Google as a business would not be able to exist. If the smartphone was not invented, then the app industry would not be able to exist. Uber would not be able to exist. WhatsApp would not be able to exist. And today, I know, particularly in Southern Africa, I'm not quite sure in the Northern Hemisphere, but I think in a lot of countries, like a lot of developing countries, so to speak, Lesotho, South Africa, Latin America, etc. I think WhatsApp has become such an important business tool for small business owners in terms of communicating and interacting with their customers. So without WhatsApp, such small businesses, some small business would not be able to exist. So that's the thing with the aviation industry as well. If you do not have the right amount of air operators, may it be airlines, may it be charter operation, bush operators, medevac, firefighting, police, etc., etc. If you didn't have all these operators in place, you would not be able to, there wouldn't be a job to be able to fly, right? If you didn't have an efficiently run or just a well-funded and resourceful regulator, Civil Aviation Authority, or may it be a department, then how would you be able to get a license in the first place when there are no rules in place to dictate how to get a license, right? So those are the things that are very much so required in becoming a pilot, right? You need to have operators in place. You need to have a regulator in place, and you need to have funding in place as well, funding opportunities. I'll give you an example, for the UK. In the UK, what a lot of people do, and of course this is not for everybody, not everybody has this chance to go through this route, but if your relatives, parents, or if you're an adult and you own a house, you have the opportunity to remortgage your house. And when you remortgage your house, you're using that financing to get a loan or to as a security on a loan to finance your pilot training. There are specific banks that provide these type of packages, these financing packages, and that they recognize. Particularly the UK and the EU, that at some point in time you will be able to pay back that loan. But in comparison, here in Southern Africa, those type of financing opportunities are very few or non-existent, let's put it that way. So funding, regulatory environment, and as well as having the operators in place to be able to actually have a career. Very important things to have. So the ingredients are very clear. You need money, for one, and you need time in a country to gain that naturalization. If you have those two things, then you can get access to citizenship, and then that gives you access to the opportunities in becoming a pilot, a pilot over there. So it's not a complete solution, obviously, but it's just to let you know that to make you focus on the idea of getting the right passport to access the right opportunities. and just pay attention to that as you try and develop your career. The last thing that I want to talk about is the different dynamics in terms of pilot progression, the process in pilot progression for different parts of the world. So, for example, like in South Africa, and this is for after you get your commercial pilot license. In some other countries, it's called the FATPL, which is the Frozen Airline Transport Pilot License. So once you've done that, once you've done the training, hard in itself, yes, but once you've done the training, for South Africa, for the most part, you become instructor to build your hours. Once you build some hours, you'll be eligible for bush flying, or what is called contract flying, which is basically flying in different countries across the continent of Africa, or maybe in the Middle East. And that's where you can get some twin engine time, turbine time, and then after doing contract flying or bush flying, then you can come back to South Africa and apply for the airlines. That's traditionally what usually happens. If we look to the UK and the EU, once you finish your training, you can pretty much apply directly to a number of airlines: EasyJet, Ryanair. Of course, these are essentially, we're now in a period where the aviation industry is going through a slump, but the way it works is pretty much still the same. So UK, EU, you can apply directly to an airline, right seater, first officer, Airbus A320, Boeing 737. Those are for most people, not for everybody. If we're talking about North America, it's pretty much similar to South Africa. This is Canada and the US, where you have to build time before you can even think about going into the airlines. In North America as well, you've got Mexico. Mexico is a completely different process in terms as a foreigner. You are not allowed, unless you were born in Mexico. Constitutionally, it is written in law, you are not allowed to fly for a local airline. So I suppose a lot of people who may fly in Mexico might be flying N-registered, November registered aircraft. I'm not sure, but that's just something I thought I would highlight. If we look to East Asia is the same as EU and the UK. There's a lot of cadet programs in place for locals. Cathay Pacific is and well, no longer exists, but I was going to say Dragon Air. But Asia, I think it's Asia X, I believe. In India as well, a lot of cadet programs in place where people can they train and then they go directly into an airline right seater. Ooh, bird. So that's Asia. Australia, New Zealand, I believe it's the similar to South Africa. And then if we go back to the continent of Africa, we look at Kenya, Ethiopia, there's that bird again, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Nigeria, definitely Nigeria. These are, there we go. Give it a moment. Oh, wow. Oh, great. Okay. So if we look at Kenya, Ethiopia, Nigeria, I think it's a mix. Okay, thank you very much for that. I think it's a... Give me one moment. Okay, now that I've shooed that bird away, things don't always go perfectly, but we'll get there in the end. So in any case, so back to the African continent, Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, all these countries, I believe it's a mix. Some of them have cadet programs, some of them have cadet programs, and also people do it through self-funding process. So that's pretty much it. So when you're looking at a country, again, this is if you're young. If you're looking at a country, you want to go through the naturalization process, look at the country where the naturalization process is a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but faster, but also has a good environment where it gives you direct entry to different types of operations that exist. So that's it for episode 9. I hope it helps to whoever is in the same situation as I am, and that you don't have the right passport, so to speak. You know, you could take the long route, and you can say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to develop my country. I'm going to develop the aviation industry. I'm going to create an airline and give opportunities to those down the line. You could do that. You could most certainly do that. But just specific to this video, just to give some advice to those who are young, and just to ensure that they understand the landscape that is at play and the opportunities that they have, and the direction in which they can take in order to become a pilot. So I hope it helps. I hope you've enjoyed episode 9. We've got one more episode left in this series, episode 10, which will be heading over to Thailand. I think it'll just be a nice little montage video, flying over Thailand and seeing the beauty of the country. So thanks very much for joining in. Remember, guys, to subscribe, like the video. It really helps. Thanks once again. Cheers.
K-side 1 Alpha Papa is overhead on forward. K-side 1 Alpha Papa.
K-side 1 Alpha Papa, roger. Just becoming number 1. Report short final.
Number 1, report short final. K-side 1 Alpha Papa. K-side 0 runway. Okay, so 1,000 feet.
K-side 1 Alpha Papa, runway 09, clear to land, surface wind 08011 knots.
Clear to land, K-side 1 Alpha Papa. She said I should play with the power. Okay, I'll try not to.
Charlie down, roger.